Rain permitting, of course, it's very much a tidy-up time. And you're cutting back plants that have lost some vigour. You're deadheading an awful lot as well, hoping that you're going to get more flowers to come on those same plants. Finding again those plants that have been covered over by the more vigorous ones, the ones that suddenly got lost in the garden. You thought, I don't remember where that was. No, I've just suddenly discovered it when I've cut something else back. Most important, and you know what the island's been like recently, it's been very hot, dry and dusty. Keep up with the watering. It's very, very important now. Your listeners may remember that awful easterly wind of a few weeks ago that burnt so much foliage. Indeed, in my own garden, the plants there are only just recovering. I lost quite a few of my prized Acer bushes and trees, actually, and it was disheartening for a time, but leave them alone and they will come back. So you have to keep up the watering to produce more leaves. They've just about got back to where they were before. So watering's very still important, as the rain we've had hasn't really soaked deeply into the soil or any of the pots. It's doubly important for any pot plants, obviously. You could mention tomatoes, for instance, and this is the time they're actually coming to fruition. You're starting to pick them, but you have to keep watering them and steadily water them as well. It's not really any good to say, well, I'll leave them for a few days. Tomatoes particularly, I'll leave them for a few days and then I'll water them in a couple of days' time, because what will happen is you'll deluge it with water in a few days' time. The plants will try to take that up, and you get split tomatoes, which are okay for tomato sauce, but not really if you want to keep them or put them into salads, if you understand. Plus the fact, of course, that diseases and pests can get into them much more easily. One observation, of course, that many of your listeners will have come across is that there are no worms around. The reason being, of course, they've gone deep.
Right.
So you could say it's a little bit safer to dig. You will not be chopping worms up, or you won't be digging worms up, or...
you know, you come to mention, I haven't seen any worms in the garden.
No, they've gone quite deep. I've dug my allotment on the places where I've actually dug it up, and redoing things and what have you. Not a worm in sight, because they've gone deeper than your spade, so you're pretty safe in actually digging at this particular time. In my own garden, now well established, of course, and your listeners have heard that it's about 30-odd years old, pruning back the thugs has become important as well. I call them the thugs. I have a particular rose tree which can reach something like 20-odd feet and sort of tries to throttle everything else that gets in its path. It's a constant battle, so you need to cut back the thugs. And that will help to reshape the garden, reshape it overall. For allotmenteers and fruit and veg gardeners, this is arguably the best time of the year, because you're seeing your earlier labours coming to good fruition, hopefully coming to good fruition. And picking, eating, freezing and preserving for the winter. So after you've relaxed and used the garden by sitting in the chair and sipping your Pimm's and or whatever, or listening to the test matches, it's time for a bit of work and activity.